See, and this is the thing with narcissists is that, many of them are really good in bed. And that's the hook that keeps women coming out. And it's so hard for them to break away because they're like, well, you're the best I've ever had. And I would rather put up with your shit and have a great day in my life than have an amazing person who doesn't know how to fuck and I'll never order in or in this case with you. And so it's like, it's this terrible dichotomy that you're forced to choose between. And unfortunately, most women will choose the bad guy with a good dick.
Yeah. I get this text saying, who are you? And I'm like,
just random.
Yeah. And her name was Sasha. And I was like, that's weird. It's her name is Sasha. And my name's Dasha. And she goes, how do you know Joey? And I was like, well.
He's my boyfriend, bitch.
Yeah. Who are you, bitch? And then I got well, I'm his wife.
What?
And I'm like, whoa, wait, hold on. And then she was telling me how they have a kid. And
wow.
I was like, so of course I'm crying. I'm like, this is bull.
I call this the volcano stage. Actually, it's in the book. This is your copy, by the way.
I get a copy?
Yeah, you do. So yeah, the whole volcano phase in this thing is, I talk to people about that. We have this honeymoon phase, and it's like the volcano's just erupting with passion. It's just going crazy, and I can't get enough of it, And then eventually it settles down, and then lava starts to drip down the side of the mountain, and you're like, oh, okay, this is kind of cool. This is where we're at, and it's still you still get burned. That's lava, but it's just a warm passion that's just continuing to go. And then eventually you have people that have the relationship where it's just the relationship's all but extinct, and they have these lava rocks that once were a reminder of how hot their passion was, and they walk around with these rocks you carry these rocks from I remember when we used to have all the time on the kitchen counters. I'm like, why did you stop? Yeah. But that's the whole thing about the lava is that, yeah, it's very passionate at first, but eventually it does die out. And here, this is the passion volcano.
Introducing the ToplessTalk podcast, where we're diving deep into the world of sex and relationships. Join us as we explore the good, the bad, and the ugly, leaving no topic off limits. With your host, Ryan Nickel, we're on a mission to change 1 million lives through 1,000 episodes. In a world where vulnerability is power, we're not just talking about taking off layers. We're peeling back the layers of real experiences. Our guests, brave women who've walked through the fire, are bearing it all. Their struggles, triumphs, and everything in between. It's more than just stories. It's a roadmap for those who felt alone in their journeys. By sharing their transformation from the horrific to the heroic, these women become beacons of hope for others, because in every tale of survival lies the potential for someone else's revival. So tune in, listen closely, and remember, Topless Talk isn't just about shedding inhibitions. It's about finding connection in the rawness of human connection. Because when we share, we heal, we empower, and we transform. Welcome to a podcast where every story is a step towards 1 million changed lives.
All right. So here we are. Got a beautiful guest, beautiful story, lots of great content for you all. I'm more excited about this interview than I have a lot of the other interviews that I've done, and we have the beautiful Dasha here. So we've actually had Dasha on once before. It didn't work out because I forgot to press play a couple of things, and then she came again, and then we just talked to a bunch of people, and we're like, no, we're not gonna air that one, so we're just gonna cancel that. We're gonna cancel that one. But it was fun to talk about you all, and yeah, you're watching this. It was probably you too. So anyway, yeah, glad to have Dasha back for the third time is the charm. And yes, please go ahead and introduce yourself. Say anything you would like to share with the audience, and we'll just jump on into this one.
Dasha. I don't even know where to start.
I know where I cover a lot, but what are you?
Would say my age and say this is Dasha from.
Hi, this is Dasha from
Cali.
I'm single, or you're not? Maybe who knows?
Single.
Don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah. Whatever the most important thing is that you love to share with people when you meet them.
Pretty spunky.
Yeah.
Well, my catchphrase,
Sure.
I guess, is I'm sassy, classy, a little smart-assy.
Ooh, I love that.
Yeah, I think it works.
It does
Fits.
It does definitely does fit for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
That's fantastic.
my little thing.
From Northern California, from North Cali.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. Where do you want to start? Do you want to start at the beginning? You want to start in the middle? You want to start at the end?
Probably the start, the very beginning.
The very beginning. All right. So, what year were you born?
1997.
Oh my God. I was a junior getting ready to graduate and become a senior and graduate high school.
Yeah, I was
Big age gap here.
27.
Look, yeah, 27 is a great age.
And
If I could be 27 again, I'll be 45 this year. I'll be 27 again with the knowledge and everything that I have now. Oh my God.
I do have to give myself credit because it's like, especially like with every friend that I've made, it's like, oh yeah, you're 27, you're young. I'm like,
It's so beautiful to have the life experience that you have and be 27 as young as you are.
yeah, a little bit more eyes open.
Mm-hmm, for sure.
27.
As a 27-year-old, I was so naive. I was getting ready to start my second marriage. Yeah, no kids, just like, oh my God, this is what life is all about. I go to work, do this and that, and just like, but completely just vanilla, ignorant when it came to like relationships and all those things.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Did it?
This helped through a lot though.
Yeah, so let's go ahead and jump on into it. What is it? Let's go ahead and, and share. Well, how did we meet actually?
we met. It was 3 times. Then it's
Three times the charm. Look at this.
Well, 3 is my lucky number. So
Is
I
it?
think that's it.
How many sisters have we had?
4.
Oh. Well, I guess we can't go there then.
Well, no, 4. It was 4.
Was it 4?
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, I was gonna try and make it work, but it was 4. But we met off of Tinder. Yes, and I think we matched even on Bumble, but we chit chatted on Tinder.
Yeah, I'm permanently banned on Bumble. I cannot get
That's funny.
an app. I can't get any kind of profile on there whatsoever because they have my pictures. So as soon as I upload a picture, even if it's like a brand new picture, the facial recognition, the AI, whatever goes fly.
No
I'm like, what the fuck is this?
rejection.
Yeah, and rejection's it's a harsh thing out there. But Tinder, I'm currently not on Tinder or Facebook dating, but I will be within the next week.
You getting off of probation?
No, I wasn't on probation. I mean, maybe self-promoting probation. I was on probation, if you will. Yeah, a little bit. It's funny because, like, so as soon as I jump onto the dating sites, there's a Facebook group called "Are you dating this person too?" And I'm blasted into
I'm on that.
Oh, are you? Oh, I got to hear this story. I'm on it with my cowboy shirt or like my abs. I'm like, yeah. I'm like, look at this. He's so full of himself. He thinks he's God's gift to women. He's married. He's cheating on his wife. He's a sex predator. All these horrible things, right? I'm just like, what the fuck? And so it was interesting because at the time I was on, I didn't have the podcast up and my book wasn't published. And so I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna wait till the podcast is back up again.
Oh, that's why.
And I'm gonna wait till the book is up so that all the people that think that like, oh, he's just out there trying to seduce women, I'm like, no, f you all. Here it is. Look, this is what I'm doing. Here's the podcast. Look at the receipts. Here's my book. Look at the receipts. I got all the receipts for y'all you bitches that are like, oh my God, he's a crush on her, what all this stuff. So, yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, we matched and then we unmatched and matched and then unmatched. And then 3rd time the charm, we matched and I was like, okay, clearly you're obsessed with me.
Clearly. I mean, look at you.
So I was like, clearly there's some reason why this guy is like reaching out to me. So yeah, I clicked, ding,
Yeah.
and then chit chatted. I was like, we've matched like 2-3 other times. And you're like, yeah. And then you were like, did you read my bio? And I said, yeah, I'm interested. And
what did my bio say then? Do you remember?
You basically said, you do readings and you're a healer, and if you're not into that, move on.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
Now it says I'm married because you have that disclaimer out there. I mean, I thought it was pretty obvious that my wife's in like almost every picture.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I'm married, not looking for a relationship.
Yeah. I think actually at that time you didn't have any of your wife.
Interesting. Yeah, probably maybe not. I mean, this was
Yeah.
2 years ago, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Before we jump into this, I'm curious, mind like racing. What are you dating this person for?
Being in the lifestyle now, it's like I'm just genuinely curious to see the stories that I've heard from the couples that get posted on there. It's just kind of funny. So mainly I was only joining it just to kind of see like.
So you're on it in a group. You're not actually, someone hasn't posted to you.
No.
I gotcha. Okay,
No.
okay, yeah.
No. But I've had a couple couples
Yeah.
like tell me their like horror story of like the guy was talking to the girl and then like she posted on there and he hadn't disclosed fully that he was seeking out a third.
Oh.
And so he was like,
Got it. Yeah.
I was like, oh, now I know because you didn't tell your wife. That's why.
Yeah, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
It's funny. The most recent one that I'm on there, crazy story. Like, so I decided back a few months ago, I got blasted again on Facebook. Facebook seems to be the place where trolls just hang out. And so I decided, like, I was like, I'm going to fight these people. So I started going to battle with these guys.
Yeah.
And I'm like, they're worthless. They don't have anything. They're just like, keyboard warriors. And a couple of them were like, oh, I caught him in the act with a kid. And I'm like, holy shit, this is really, really bad. Like, this is turning really like down a road that I don't want to go. So I'm like, I'm gonna defend this. So when they started like doing that kind of stuff, because I mean, the building that we're in today is an old church. And so like, yeah, he has a church. He recruits little girls. And I'm like, this is way beyond anything that that we ever could imagine that people would say, but they did. So I'm like, I'm gonna take people to court. This is slander. This is terrible.
Good for you.
So well, I rounded them all up. Guess what? They're very easy to find, by the way. Not hard to find these people at all.
Yeah.
They are renters. They're either on unemployment or have like a low level job. And I'm like, what am I going to get from these people? They don't have assets. They don't have a house. They barely even own their car. And it's like a 2001 like Chevy like Cavalier. I'm like, who wants that piece of shit? Yeah. If that was my life, yeah, I'd be trolling people on Facebook too, So at that point I decided like, you know what? I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm not going to just like the energy that I needed to do it. So I stopped. And then I jumped on the apps again. And then someone posted my pictures. And then I started getting all these messages like, hey, did you know that this is what's going on? And I'm like, you know what? Just gonna let it go. And as soon as I had that energy of like just letting it go, several of the women that I've worked with over the years, they're like, my God, he's a really genuine guy. Yes, of course his wife knows. I've met her personally. Like people that have like actually met my wife and all this stuff. I'm like, holy shit, look at this. If I don't defend myself, people will, because the work stands by itself.
Yeah.
So I was like, you know what? Perfect. So, well, good. I'm glad that you're not on it in like a negative way.
I haven't done anything like that.
Yeah. All right. Back to your story now. So we met, or online we matched.
Yeah, and then I was like, I was in a shitty moment in my life, so I was like, kind of being a
Joey.
Joey. Yeah. It was kind of at my I wasn't at rock bottom, but I was at rock bottom and just devastated with myself. So I was like, when I saw reading, I was like, I wonder what he has to say about me. So I chit-chatted and then we went over to texting, and then that's when I was like, let's do the reading and see. So started there. I was like, well, I've sent plenty of boob pictures and I've had plenty of pictures probably out there. So I was like, if he's just out there for a boob pic, congrats.
Clever way, mister. You got it.
I was like, congrats.
You figured it out. Yep.
I was like, but you just don't get my beautiful face in it.
Which I appreciate too, because there's no need for the face to be there.
Yeah. And then when I actually got the message back.
It is a beautiful face.
Yeah, it is. When I got the message back, it was like a 5-minute IO. I was like, what? Wait. So yeah, and then actually I just re-listened to that actually just recently.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I scrolled through and was like,
Still accurate?
Yeah.
Wow.
Very accurate. I actually was sharing it to my current partner.
Oh, you have a partner.
I do.
I love this. Fantastic. I want to hear all about it.
Oh yeah, go get into that.
So you are single living?
Yeah.
You are, but you aren't.
I'm single, just partnered for have a primary play partner.
Oh yeah, great. We're gonna get into that, I'm sure.
So, but yeah, and then so the reading, I was a little shocked about it, but I was like, I feel like this is positive, and I need positivity in my life. So I was like, And then I was like, okay, so what's this like sexual healing thing? And that made me really uneasy, only because, you know, it's like, I'm not trying to just go get like finger banged by some random dude.
Right?
But
it's funny that you were truly seeking for something healing, because I do get hit up all the time.
yeah,
It's like, wow, looks like you really know what you're doing. I really don't have any healing, but I really want you to finger fuck me, or take your time with me, or you give me the orgasm that I never had in my life. And I'm just like, I appreciate that, but that's not what I'm here for.
yeah, no, that's one thing that I realized. I was like, I was definitely seeking help.
Yeah.
And I noticed that I'm just like, that's when I need help, I like reach out for it, or the universe comes out with something.
It's kind of both like a dualistic thing. Like, you know, you recognize you need it, you want it, you make the effort to do it, which I love you for that, because you're very, you know, courageous
Yeah.
to do that, especially to seek out for something like, you know, like with what I do. But not in general, like, not just that, but like in general, you're a very courageous woman. You're like, hey, I recognize that this is a part that I need to do, and you go and you seek for it.
Yeah.
And then the universe rewards you for that. It's like, hey, you've making your you
Here you go.
took your step. Here you go. Here's reciprocity.
Yeah.
Synchronicities will just line up for you.
So, yeah. And we had our appointment. I was car sick all the way over here, but I was like, I need to do it.
Your son dropped you off, right?
No, that was our
Second time?
Second.
Got it.
Our third.
One of the other times.
One.
Yeah.
It was the third. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was interesting.
You're not bringing the third anymore, are you?
No.
Yeah.
No, she moved it back home. She's got it.
Yeah, she has her own challenges going on.
I was like, you need help? You want to come in?
Yeah, I know this great guy.
We're just going to go get finger bang real quick. It's
But
not-
for those that don't know what sexual healing is, it's a little bit more than just being fingered.
Yeah, no, it's not that. I promise. It's not that. Anyway, but she knows every detail about that.
I bet you had a long drive home.
Yeah, we did. But yeah, so we had 4 sessions.
Yeah.
First one was absolutely incredible because it was like the eye-opening of what my potential was.
Yes, a lot of potential. I remember you were glowing afterwards.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, whoa.
I still have that video, and I still look back, and then I even have pictures of before and after.
Yeah.
Not that I purposely took before and after pics, but I did.
It's
subconsciously.
It's so beautiful that you had that to reference. And I tell people that oftenly, you know, when I first started this journey, I thought, you know what, this is just going to be like a one and done kind of a thing. And then the more that I realized it, I'm like, no, you know what? You come for the first breakthrough, and then you stay for the change.
Yeah.
And that's what I've learned is people come and they get their breakthrough with, like, oh my God, like, what just happened? And then they come and then the change sticks and it lasts longer. So you've had 4 sessions and I'm sure the change has stuck since the first time.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not perfect, but
No, really, and that's not the goal.
I have the keys to a lot of things, so that's
Yeah.
like the most important part.
I love that.
Yeah.
One of my favorite moments in working with you the very first time is when you started telling me about your partner at the time.
Oh God, that was I'm sorry, first session. So because they don't know what we're talking about. So when I met Ryan, I had a boyfriend. He was an ex.
Yeah, back up and tell him the story. This is a crazy story.
Yeah. So he was my first boyfriend. I started seeing him when I was 20, and I guess I like a little rough, whatever. Anyway.
Yeah.
So I met him when I was 20. We had like this really good thing going. We were going on dates, hanging out. We actually didn't have sex. Like, he was actually like,
A gentleman.
I'm gonna wait.
Wow.
And I was like, okay. And then I remember he just invited me to be his +1 to a San Diego. He was a fitness trainer. So he's like, I want you to be my +1. I'll take care of everything. Just come fly with me. And I was like, oh my God, yes. You know, I was in love. And then all of a sudden, I was like, yeah, just don't play with me. Like, I don't want you to play with me. Like, if you're not serious about stuff,
Yeah.
don't don't come after me. Except I didn't say that, you know, because I didn't have a voice back then. And so
So how did you say that then?
I just said, don't ghost me.
Oh. Like a 20-year-old. Good for you.
Yeah. You know, just that little innocent, serious.
Yeah.
But anyway, no. And then all of a sudden, like, I think a day or two later, like, his messages stopped coming through. And I was like, are you fucking
So he ghosted you?
Yeah. Well, actually, 2 years later, turns out that he was arrested for some stuff that he got
So
caught
you
up
go to San Diego with him?
No, I never went.
Oh, you never went?
He got
Busted.
busted before he even was able to.
Oh, shit. Okay.
So that's why I was all excited. I was like, hey, San Diego trip. Yeah. And then all of a sudden he's gone. I'm like, okay. Sure.
So in those 2 years, were you devastated?
Well,
Were you looking,
so
or-
actually, I got a little hint of things because I had some random people messaging me off of like his workout groups and saying, hey, you don't look like you've come to our workout groups, but who are you? You're added on his Instagram.
What's it mean that you don't look like you come to our workout groups? Like, they don't recognize your
They
face?
recognize me. Apparently, they had like a little small community that they know.
Oh, got
And
it.
I was added on his Instagram, and they're like, yeah, you're just some random chick. And I was just like, ooh. And so I had this lady reach out, and I was like, no, I've been seeing Joey for a little bit. And she's like, oh, well, he's missing. He hasn't even shown up to our class. So I was like,
Oh, damn. Yeah.
and yeah, so we were all kind of mysterious. And then all of a sudden, she started sending pictures that he was
In jail.
arrested.
Oh.
And I was like, oh, for what? It's like all the charges. It was funny. And then actually a couple days later, I was on my way to Concord to pick up my parents from the airport or the BART station. And I get this text saying, who are you? And I'm like,
Just random.
yeah. And her name was Sasha. And I was like, that's weird. It's her name's Sasha. And my name's Dasha. And she goes, how do you know Joey? And I was like, well,
He's my boyfriend, bitch.
yeah. Who are you, bitch? And then I got well, I'm his wife.
What?
And I'm like, whoa, wait, hold on. And then she was telling me how, like, you know, they have a kid. And
Wow.
I was like, so of course I'm like crying. And I'm like, this is bullshit.
But wait. You just met the guy. You hadn't had sex yet.
We've been talking actually for a month or two. Like, we've been talking for a while.
Oh, okay. And you've already had sex with the guy?
No, we hadn't had
So why are you crying?
because I liked him.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, he caught me a little bit, you know?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, the feels.
Yeah.
All right.
So, and you know, being 20 and my past being, I wanted to always be loved. Obviously, when some guy was showing me care. it's
Yeah.
like, oh,
And we're going to get to her past. Her past is
dark,
beautiful
but beautiful.
because of who she has become as a result of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
But it is like stay tuned for this shit show of a childhood that this woman had, you know?
I know. Yeah, so he, let's see, 2 years went by, and all of a sudden I get
Wait. Back up to the wife, though. So,
she just disappeared after she said that.
oh,
she's
she's
like,
I'm his wife, get out of here, you know?
yeah, and I was just like, oh, okay.
Okay.
And then, actually, I think I might have blocked her. I was freaked out.
I mean, yeah, pretty much, yeah.
So I was just upset, and I was just like, of course this happens to me, blah, blah, blah. You know, Eeyore. And so, yeah, so 2 years go by.
And you're not dating anybody in the meantime?
No, I don't remember actually the 2 years stuff.
Okay, that just kind of just flew by.
I had bullshit probably going on.
You just locked yourself in a room and watched TV. And,
Probably.
I mean, who knows, right? Yeah.
I don't know. No, probably family drama.
Family drama. Okay. So 2 years pass, and then
I get a random text message and goes, well, he called me by my last name. He was like, Ms. I was gonna say, like,
yeah.
when anyone's talking to me.
No one's gonna talk. Okay.
And I was like,
As a K partner, where it's
yeah,
could be both.
back off. I was like, who is, yes, like, who is this? And I thought it was like maybe like job or work or something like
yeah.
that. And I was just like, I don't know who this is. And then, oh, hey, it's Joey. I was like,
What?
the fuck?
So a dude who you had talked to for maybe a month.
I was longer than a month.
So 2 months?
I don't know
months.
exactly, but it was a couple months. Several months.
Several months you talked to him. I want the audience like to understand this. So someone you've talked to for a couple of months, he has a wife, he gets picked up for some charges that he has, outstanding warrants.
Yeah.
He's now incarcerated for 2 years. He randomly 2 whole years. He randomly texts you. Here's what I don't understand is when
how do you remember my number?
That's my point.
That's what I was like.
That's what I'm like. How in the world? Because if I'm texting somebody, you're saved in my phone. I'm not texting your number every single time. How the fuck did he?
I don't know.
Did you change your number?
Probably. I think.
How did he find you?
I don't know. Like genuinely, I've still thought about that.
Right?
I mean, maybe he just had old messages and maybe I hadn't changed my number at the time, so I'm probably just gonna go with that.
Or there's this lasting impression from the woman who he never ever had. It was just communication. There was nothing sexual and
I mean, clearly I left something.
Obviously.
Because, I mean, he, after 2 years.
That's my point.
You reach out to somebody and I'm like, whoa. Okay.
Yeah. So was Jude reaching out to you?
Yeah. And he's like, hey, you know, and I was just like, well, hold on.
But wait, hang on real quick. Before you jump into that, like, look at you. Like, you did something to this guy.
Yeah.
That 2 years he's in jail.
I never actually
to
thought
you.
about that, so. Oh, God.
You're like, how about you get out? I'm Dasha. Yeah.
Yeah, actually, I never really thought about it like that.
But seriously, like,
reached out to you, like,
yeah, like there was something about you that just drove him nuts.
Yeah.
Like, you know, magical about you. Like, own that shit, girl. Yeah. All right. So 2 years now, he reaches out.
So yeah, I said, well, hold on, I got a message from your wife, and I appreciate you reaching out, but back off, buddy.
Yeah.
And now, a word from our sponsors.
Hello, my name is Alice Lamana, and I was given an amazing booby reading from Ryan last week, and it was the most amazing thing I've actually ever experienced.
I have to be honest, I thought at first it was just kind of this scam that was unique that this guy was running to be able to just see lots of boobs on the internet. But it turned out to be actually pretty intuitive and accurate.
He was able to pick up on things that I've known about myself, but that I haven't voiced out loud to anybody.
He explained things that I didn't share with him, and the connections make sense to me. It helped me learn a little bit more about how my body stores energy that I'm experiencing.
I was shocked. Couldn't believe some of the things that he had said.
I would highly recommend Ryan.
Oh my gosh, I highly recommend it.
Try it. See what happens. See what you find out about yourself.
I just had a boob reading with Ryan, and I want to highly recommend that you do also.
Now, back to our Topless Talk interview with Ryan Nickel.
And he's like, hey, you know, I totally understand, but if you would just give me a chance to take you out to dinner and explain, that'd be great. So we did. We met up. This is like around code, actually, because I remember we still every restaurant we had to find that was like seating outside.
Right.
So anyway, we went up a little Mexican restaurant, and I was eating chips, and he said that his wife's actually obsessed with him, and he still gets called by that, but they're actually officially divorced, and he showed me divorce papers.
Oh shit. So he had receipts as well.
Yeah.
Right.
So yeah, he's like, yeah, no. I'm just there with her because that's my kid.
Got it.
So yeah. And I was like, well, it's ironic that you managed to find a Dasha and a Sasha.
I think those are
Those
two
people
names.
don't usually find people like that.
Maybe Tasha? Just something you could jump to
That's
think.
his next victim.
I know. wait, victim. I thought this was all like gonna be a happy story here. Alright.
So, yeah, we chatted, and he kind of explained like what happened and why he got arrested in 2 years, and he's on, I is it probation? What's the
Probation, yeah.
The home arrest, whatever the
like
legal thing.
Parole or whatever.
Parole.
Yeah.
I don't know which one's which. I don't get.
I think he's on probation, like house arrest or like probation.
Yeah. So
Anyway, he's a loser. The guy's like
he's a curfew
ankle monitor. Yeah.
ankle monitor, can't leave the city limits.
Yeah.
You know, curfews by 11. So we did actually start kind of seeing each other a little bit and meeting up and doing stuff like talking and then we got a little we like started making out and I was like, oh, this is really good. And then I still remember even the first day that we like fucked and it was like magical.
Oh man, yeah.
It was because
Nothing wrong with it.
I guess I've been known to fake a lot.
Oh.
So when he actually made me, I was like, oh shit, this is what it's like.
Yeah, you're not gonna forget that.
No.
Yeah.
So that's why I was like, oh shit, okay. Yeah, that was the beginning.
So I mean, sounds like a great story. What happened?
I guess I just listened to his little story about how it was like, jail changed me.
Yeah.
I'm in touch with God and blah 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 blah.
But what, he wasn't or something?
No.
What?
You just put on that front. I've done too.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'll tell you in my little years, that's exactly what I would have done too. You think you change and then you go right back to your ways if you actually don't do anything.
But he started off like so good. He didn't do anything with you, got picked up, arrested.
Well, see, and that's why I was like, oh, this guy's great,
Yeah.
And then we started talking and things started, and then, we hooked up. We had amazing sex,
Yeah.
Kept
go on there.
Yeah. I was like, that's great. And then we started having more sex. And I was like, oh, this is really nice. This is really good.
Yeah.
And we started to get to know each other a little bit more. And I would hang out and then I guess looking back at it now, I know exactly where it started and where it kind of cut off.
Yeah.
The relationship was the text relationship.
Oh, so he's one personality on the phone, another personality in person?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So in the beginning it was both, it was paired. But then all of a sudden it was like, our deep conversations happened on text.
Okay.
And so when we would hang out in person,
might not even be him texting. It could be like ChatGPT or some shit like that. No. You have a relationship with chat?
yeah. So like, and then I think the next point would have been like when I was like catching feelings for him again. Mm-hmm. And I remember I was hanging out with my friend and I was just like, I remember him sending me a message saying like, swear to God, Dasha, like if you hurt me, I would never hurt you. So like, we cannot with each other because I really like you. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm getting confessed love,
Right, yeah,
like,
that feels good inside.
Yeah, and I just remember like, I was driving and I was having my friend text him back, like, tell him I would never hurt you.
I love you forever, Joey.
It was so funny. And yeah, it was just, yeah.
Is this the friend that dropped you off or a different friend?
No, this is an old friend of mine.
Got it.
Yeah, she helped me out on that moment. But she was my close friend at the time.
Yeah, for sure.
And then I remember all of those things that were said, but then like I still remember the day that we just seen each other, we had great sex, and then I left.
Describe what great sex means. Like that's like a very general.
He
like, it's
was making me
okay.
Like I never slept with anyone really.
Yeah.
And our lasted maybe an hour and a half. I remember my mood was always like hunky-dory afterwards. It was just like, whoo, that was really nice.
Yeah, it feels great, right? You mean, all these endorphins are happening in your body, oxytocin, like
it was really nice. And then like typically we would go and get like, ice cream or food or something, and it was just fun,
I mean, the dude was doing all the right things, right? And it was really, really good. You had the serotonin release, you had the ice cream, the dopamine release. So you're basically bonding with this person.
Yeah.
Great aftercare.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but I still remember the day that we were talking after we had just hooked up, and then all of a sudden we go into the like, all of a sudden he called me boo, and I was like, well, hold on, you can't call me that yet. And he's like, why not? And I was like, because you haven't made it official.
Oh.
And he's like, okay, well, I'm making it official.
So you had a very firm boundary.
Yeah. It wasn't like, you can't call me bae, or I don't know what people call it, boo, babe, baby.
Whatever. Any kind of like, a term or
Yeah, like I'll throw out, like I apparently to some people it's like disrespectful when you get called hun, but I call people hun all the time. I'm like, no thanks, hun.
I mean, people have their different preferences, but I think there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, or
Somebody calls you bae?
Yeah, and I was just like,
or no, he calls you boo.
Boo.
Yeah.
And I was like, hold on. And I just really just wanted to kind of bring it up. And then he was like, I don't know. I was like, are we dating? He's like, I don't know. Are we? And I was like, is this your way of asking me out?
Yeah, take the lead.
And then he's like, okay, I am, baby. And I was just like, no, you can't do that shit over this text. Like,
oh, you love the text.
Yeah, we were texting. And I was like, no, you can't do this shit over text. I wanted it like to be the old fashioned. Like, you need to ask me in person. And he's like, okay, he never did.
Oh, he didn't?
No.
Oh, where was he?
He just wanted to text me that we were official over the phone.
Made me think that you were.
Yeah.
Yeah. Breadcrumb me along.
So, obviously when I didn't have any boundaries and I didn't have any like...
Well, you did have a boundary because you...
Somewhat of a boundary, but I let go of that boundary when I realized, oh, well, he wants me to be his girlfriend. Not the way that I wanted, though, and he never really officially asked me out.
Yeah. So you had an idea of the boundaries were, but you weren't... So they were clearly defined, but not well defended.
Yeah, I had a vision of what I wanted.
Yeah.
But it kind of glimpsed in my brain one moment, and then it was out the window the next. So, I mean...
Yeah. They got replaced with Joey's penis. His dick. You're like, boundary.
That's love.
Joey's dick. Oh, sorry. My boundary.
So, yeah. So, that's like when I look back at the story, I was like, what the fuck? You can't even ask me out. So, but, I mean, I would go over there and, it took me almost 2 months before I could even sleep with him. Like, fall asleep at his house.
So you would then leave? Or he can kick you out?
We would fall asleep, and then I would wake up, it would be like 2 a.m, and then I'm like, okay, I need to go home.
Oh, yeah.
And then, but it wasn't because he did anything, it was just because I'm a very creature of habit, so I just like to have my bed, I have my fan on, I get to sleep with a little noise, something.
Well, I think also unconsciously your body's in your psyche and your soul basically is saying, hey, you're not comfortable here.
Yeah.
You may, trick yourself into thinking that you are going to be comfortable here, but and that's what happens with repetition is you do feel comfortable over time to just like ignore those things your body's telling you. Like, hey, like this isn't right. There's something going on under the surface. You may not figure it out just yet, but we know and we're telling you.
Right, yeah. So I'd get up and then, of course we had that like that little honeymoon phase where we're just kind of like super hot, so it was like I'd get up, I'm like, okay, fine, leaving. He'd walk me to the door and all of a sudden I'm pushed up against the wall, we're making the out and then you're fucking again. I'm like, oh my god. And I'm leaving, I'm just like
I call this the volcano stage. Actually, it's in my book. Yeah, this is your copy, by the way.
I get a copy?
Okay, you do. So yeah, the whole volcano phase in this thing is, I talk to people about that. Like, we have this like honeymoon phase, and it's like the volcano's just erupting with passion. It's just going crazy, and like, we're like, fuck, can't get enough of it, And then eventually it settles down, and then like lava starts to like drip down the side of the mountain, and you're like, oh, okay, this is kind of close to where we're at. And it's still like, you still get burned, like that's fucking lava, like, but it's like, it's just a warm passion that's just continuing to go. And then eventually you have people that have like the relationship where it's just like, the relationship's, all but extinct, and they have these like lava rocks that once were a reminder of like how hot their passion was, and they walk around with these rocks, and like, what do you carry these rocks for? Like, I remember when we used to have all the time on the kitchen counters. I'm like, why did you stop, Yeah. But like, that's the whole thing about like, the lava is that, yeah, it's very passionate at first, but eventually it does die out. And here it is, the passion volcano. So, yeah, this is your copy.
Oh, sweet. I'm very excited to read this. I started reading because of this dude, my partner.
Really?
Exciting stuff. Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, so anyway,
Okay, so, so that sort of thing kind of just, we had a thing going for months and months and months. Honestly, I've kind of numbed out the relationship, to be honest. So I can't remember exactly all the little things. We had good days, we had bad days. then things got really nasty. You know, I have memories of, you know, we just started arguing all the time, and I don't know why, but it was always over text. There was no in-person conversations.
No, because you guys are gonna. What happens is the body becomes familiar. So text, you're gonna fight. In person, you're gonna fuck.
Yeah. Well, and even when we'd hang out and we wouldn't, there's like sometimes where we didn't. We probably
always did, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, and it was almost like then I started subconsciously trying to have conversations like that in person and just like try to connect with him. And when I started like sending out feelers, I was like, wait, they're getting rejected back. And it started to feel really weird and off. I was like, something's off. I don't like this. And yeah, that's when I started realizing that I was just like, something's weird. Something's, you know, and we were dating.
Yeah.
For 2 years.
Wow.
But,
in your mind,
it almost just
you thought like your boyfriend's girlfriend.
Friends, yeah.
You thought it was on text.
You know, and then he would do these like little things, like, you know, I was working and he would just show up with flowers.
Oh.
And I'm like, there goes my heart again. I'm like, no, why?
Yeah.
You know, or he'll show up with lunch. And I'm just like, stop it. You know, or like Valentine's Day, I would come over and I've got like a whole array of stuff, you know, just body washes, perfumes, lotions, candles, a big thing of chocolate, you know, little tiny stuffed animal of some sort. You know, and I would gift him stuff back, and I didn't really get him much because he had this thing of, I don't like stuff. I don't want you to give me stuff.
Interesting.
I was like,
or he felt guilty because he was shopping around all that shit.
You know, our conversations were never like, so what's your favorite color? What's your favorite food? You know, I think I still remember his favorite color is black, but then like when I wanted to get him something, you know, it was like, no, I don't want anything. And I'm like,
interesting.
But you get me all this stuff. Okay.
Right.
So, you know, and then, you know, Christmas, it was the same thing. He'd give me cute little things or something like that. But yeah, but it was really just sex. And we did have really good sex. You know, if he was just like a friends with benefits or a play partner, oh fuck yeah. Like we explored a lot of different things.
In your history of having sex with people, where does he land on the scale still?
Well, see, now he's number 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that. I'm just curious.
No.
Yeah. Are you filtering this because you know your current partner's gonna watch this and you're like, oh no, you're not.
No, I'm not. He's not. I don't care if he watches this.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Is your current partner number 1?
Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. I love that.
And that's new because the last time I would have said, yeah, no, my ex was my best sex I've ever had.
It had been for the longest time.
It was.
Ever since I've known you, so this is a new news thing.
This is, and I'm gonna, I'll get into that. But anyway, so.
All right.
Smokey. So this was really good. It was, you know, we would try new positions, and I also noticed I was comfortable because body-wise, I had no confidence.
Yeah.
I was super insecure. You know, I'm chubby girl, big girl, whatever. But like with him, it didn't matter.
Yeah.
So that's like the one thing that like he relaxed me and is in that department of just like, I don't care if you're big. It's like he still folded me like a taco.
Love that.
You know, or a burrito, and I'm just like, okay, we're doing this position, you know, and so it's fun. Like he did generally know, like, have fun, you know. Then like later we argue, you know, blah blah blah. Things start.
See, and this is the thing with narcissists is that, you know, many of them are really good in bed, and that's the hook that keeps women coming out. And it's so hard for them to break away because they're like, well, you're the best I've ever had, and I would rather put up with your shittiness and have a great day in my life than have an amazing person who doesn't know how to fuck, and I'll never order in, or in this case with you. And so it's like, it's this terrible like dichotomy that you're forced to choose between. And unfortunately, most women will choose the bad guy with a good day.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly it. So I guess because I can only remember everything, I just remember. So we had like a little breakup kind of thing, and it wasn't even a breakup. I just said, like, let's take a break. You know, I'm pulling up into work, and I'm already bawling my eyes out at 9:30 because, you know, things he was saying or something. And I can't remember exactly those things. It was just like, I'm destroyed because I'm like, I really like you, and I feel like I'm not getting the same energy back. And I remember like calling out of work, and I was like, I just need a friend, and like drove all the way to my friend's house and called off of work. And I was just sitting there just thinking, I was like, okay, maybe this break's gonna help. And of course, me being the person that I was back then, the first thing that comes out of my brain, in my head, is, what am I doing wrong?
Right? Yeah.
And I'm like, fuck it. Go back. Change that sentence. And so, yeah, it was, what am I doing wrong? And I was like, that he hurt me wrong.
No, you were being played.
Yeah, I was. And so I remember that week, that really proved everything, because I would say I'm spiritual.
I love that you could look back and see that it wasn't you.
Yeah.
Like, I love the maturity that I've seen.
See, this is where I've matured the most. And I think, so back then I thought maybe, okay, so I was just kind of weird because like I could connect with people a little bit on a deeper level. But now that I've kind of like grown into this person that you created, and that you've
I didn't create anything.
You didn't create.
She was already there.
I reminded who I was.
Yeah.
I'm an empath, and so I was taking on a lot of his emotions, and that's where all that guilt came from. And I'm like, when I look back, and I was like, why the f am I feeling guilty about shit? Like, what am I doing wrong?
Right.
And that was actually the week that it proved that point, because the end of that week, I went on the phone with him. I remember, and I was like, hey, that we were talking. I don't know why we were talking for so long, but we were. And then all of a sudden he's like, hey, I gotta go. I was just like, oh.
Just randomly abrupt.
Not really. It was a little subtle.
Okay.
But I felt it.
Yeah.
And that energy change on the phone, I was just like, okay, well, I'm glad that we had this conversation, this chat. I really think that it was really good. And, I think that, we can get together and like get back together.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, it's good. But I gotta go. I was like, okay, bye. I had a fucking dream that night.
Oh, wow.
Detailed.
Yeah.
Literally. I was like, I still remember this dream. I was at his house. I was outside the house, all dark inside. And I remember sneaking in. And then I remember finding a girl with him fucking in the bed. And I was like, what the fuck?
What?
The next morning I was like, hey, can I ask you something? Because I have to ask. Did you have a girl over last night? He goes, yeah. Yeah, I did. I was like, did you fuck her?
Wow.
And he's like, yeah. And I was like, okay, that's not what I meant by fuck, right, douchebag? And it even gets worse, because I actually met up with a guy, but I wasn't looking for a hookup. This is where it starts to go dark, guys. Fair warning.
That's what they came for.
Right. So, yeah, I remember I matched with this guy. I was just on Bumble BFF. And this guy was like, totally would love to hang out with you. I think you're super chill. And I was like, yeah, I would really need that. I'm going through a lot right now. And I don't know you, but I actually share everything to everybody. And I was like, yeah, let's hang out. And I was like, yeah, just add some drinks. And I was like, I don't really want to drink. I'm not really comfortable with that. And I'm not doing anything with you, so yeah. I don't really want to drink either. I had to get talking into one drink, one little shot.
Yeah.
I think I ended up having 2 shots, but for having 2 shots, you shouldn't be wasted. And fortunately, I got really, really drunk to the point where I was like, I couldn't even stand up straight.
Whoa.
So I think I was drugged.
Yeah, 100%.
Because, then it ended up to, let's go into bed. And so we're sitting on the bed and we're watching.
Oh, you were at his house?
Yeah, I went over to this guy's.
So you weren't at a place. You were at his house. He's mixing the drinks at his house.
Yeah. And so, when I was sitting there thinking about it, I was like.
A complete random stranger who just.
Yeah, he would turn around and pour the shots.
Yeah.
And the mixer.
Yeah.
And it could have been in the mixer, I don't know, but for how, I know myself pretty well. Right. One shot, because I don't drink at all now. I'm just not a drinker. One shot might get me a little buzzed, but like 2 shots, I'm not gonna feel like
You're gonna be falling over.
like whoa.
Yeah,
You know, because then all of a sudden it turned into a massage, and I was like, no, I don't want my brown pants off. Like I keep them on, but I would love a massage because I'm feeling really like, you know.
Right.
And so, you know, then there's massage, and then of course it goes into, you know, he's molested the f- out of me.
Jesus.
And I even remember, like, he was very aggressive. He didn't know anything about me, so like, he had very rough, like, titty play. And he was biting me so hard, I remember. But I was so out of it, I couldn't, like, hey, stop.
Right.
And then I remember I was like, hey, I'm gonna be sick, or I have to pee, or something. No, I had to pee, and I was like, hey, I gotta pee. I remember getting up and, like, going into the bathroom, and I just, like, sit down, and I'm just like, what the fuck? Like, sitting there, and all of a sudden the door opens. This dude just walks in.
What the fuck?
And he face fucks me, and I'm like,
God.
like, stop. Like, I'm trying to pee.
Hey man, I'm not interested.
Yeah. And so, and then I remember he walked out. And I was
Completely
just like,
non-consensual. Like you have no ability to communicate your consent whatsoever.
yeah, and so I was just like, what the fuck? And then I remember go back
I'm
in.
sorry that happened.
Yeah. And then I just remember I was like, I need to get out of here.
Yeah.
I don't feel good. He's pulling my hair really aggressively. It hurts.
Yeah.
My tits hurt. Like my nipples hurt really bad.
Fuck this guy.
And I was like, the sex wasn't even that good. I don't remember it. I was
So you actually had sex?
out of it. Yeah. He fucked me.
Okay.
Yeah. And I was just like, I remember thinking like, I should not drive.
Right.
But I am not safe here.
Right.
And that's like the realization that I had was like, get the out of there, Dasha. Call somebody if you need to, but get out of there. Because my phone wasn't anywhere. I couldn't find my phone.
So he had your phone?
I think so.
Yeah, of course.
Because then when I was like, hey, I need to go. Like he's like, oh, okay, that's fine. You know, he did let me go, but I think he.
Well, of course, he'd already fucked you, massaged you, face fucked you in the bathroom.
Yeah.
Finger. I mean, what is he to say now? Like, well, what else we're gonna do? No, we did it already. Get out of my house, you know?
Yeah. So, all of a sudden my phone shows up, and then
surprise.
and I remember I had a coat, and so and then I like walk out. And
He's like dressing you. He's like, all right, good.
Yeah, and so I'm sitting in my car, and I'm just like, my head was spinning. I was like, I don't feel good. So I remember pulling out of the driveway and at least going down the road, and I sat there and I texted my friend. I was like, hey, something's happened. I don't feel good. I'm gonna send you my location. Can you please watch where I'm going? And if I stop moving, call 911. And she's like, are you okay? Do you want me to come pick you up? I was like, no, I'm kind of coming back out of this, but like, I'm gonna drink a shit ton of water. I had a water bottle in my car, and I was like, but I just wanted to get home. And and so, moral of the story, the main reason why I told that story is because that was the week that I broke up. You know, we paused on our relationship, and I remember telling Joey about it.
Oh God.
Do you remember how that worked out?
I do not, but all I can think is how this guy's gonna manipulate this. Well, if you're fucking people, why can't I fuck people?
He did. Well, it was actually worse than that. So when I told him that I didn't fuck anybody, but I kind of had like a rape issue.
And of course you didn't report any of this.
No, because I did confront the guy, and I said, hey, you know, I don't want to talk to you. Like, I feel really raped from last night. And he's like, I didn't feel like that. I was like, of course you didn't feel like that, but like, I told you that I didn't want to drink, and I told you I want to go over and hang out with you, and it turned into sex. And I have severe bruising on my nails. I don't know if you know, but here's pictures. And I sent him pictures. I had like total like abusive like bruising all over my boot. Yeah. And I was like, I did not consent to that. And he's like, but you did. You came over and you allowed me to drink. And I was like, fuck off. Like, I was like, I'm blocking you. Like, don't talk to me.
What a
yeah, I should have, but I didn't, because I thought, you know, if I sent this to my boyfriend,
right,
he would maybe be mad about it. No, he actually took that and was like, you just wanted to fuck him.
Wow.
And I was like, fuck you, Joey. That's when I first was like, fuck you, Joey.
Wow.
And he actually was even so crazy to the point where he actually when I screenshotted the chat of me confronting this dude, he's like, well, it sounds like you wanted it. And I said, excuse me? And he even texted the number.
Oh, for real?
And I don't know if it's true because I never saw any proof, but he said like a day later, he's like, yeah, just so you know, I reached out to that dude and he said that you were totally willing. Like you were totally. Okay. And I said, fuck you. No, not even just fuck you. Like it was like, now I think about it, I'm just like, wow, you are beyond dirt. You are beyond dirt for that. I don't care how good your sex is to me.
Eventually, the tide starts to, it starts to turn, Like, you're weighing like, oh, the sex is super good, but he's an asshole. And it's like, well, fuck, the sex is just going downhill because this guy is such an asshole.
Yeah.
Like,
but then I would go back up.
Because you let it.
Yeah. Because I didn't have any confidence with anybody else.
And now, a word from our sponsors.
There's been a lot of trauma in my marriage, in my experience, and in my husband's passing. I was seeking healing in whatever capacity I was able to encounter it. I came across Ryan, and we decided to go forward and planned for a session. Then we met at the counselor for Ed's office for a counseling for a session, which began with counseling. And the counseling component itself was pretty impressive. It was very thorough with seeing me, and really I felt very seen in my whole experience, so he could see what direction I was ready to move in and from what perspective I was coming from. It felt like a very unexpected healing experience that I embraced. It came to me, and it was an opportunity for me to exercise my adult consent in a safe place. I feel grounded in my healing journey, and I look forward to continuing that journey and of healing and growth. I have a lot of gratitude for Ryan and the work that he's done for me.
Now, back to our Topless Talk interview with Ryan Nickel.
And if that's the kind of guy that I got when I stopped talking to Joey, then I'm like, fuck, I might as well go back to Joey.
Yeah, you don't have the bruises, you have good sex, and you don't feel, they don't have to drug you in order to get it,
Exactly. So, yeah, I actually let the chick go. And I let it happen. And I was like, whatever.
So sorry. So sorry.
Yeah, and then, little things happen here and there, like he snuck into my phone and found, old messages from, doms that I talked to, before him.
Yeah.
And, one was just checking in with me, and, it's funny, still to this day, he never has told me, what messages he saw that he just wanted to accuse me, and then I was like, wait a second. The fact that he looked into my phone and then he just up and left, went to work and just kind of course, there's another moment, he snoops in my phone. He's now emotional. Mm-hmm. He doesn't want to show it. And then all of a sudden he's like, yeah, I got to get to work. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, I guess we're done hanging out. Let's just get up and leave.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm not trying to expose anybody.
This is a Topless Talk show, It's okay.
So, I'm just like, we get up and leave, and I start driving, and of course that's when I get a phone call. Mm. And then I was like, hey, what's going on? You totally shut down. And he's like, so I'm going to ask you something, and you need to be honest with me. And I was like, what's up? And he's like, I went through your phone. Who the fuck are these guys that you're talking to? I was like, what are you talking about?
Right.
These are all people that I was like, these aren't anybody, there's nobody new in my phone. And it was just all this you're cheating on me, you don't love me. And so of course I pull over, I'm crying my eyes out. Mm. What do you want? I love you.
You're my one and only Joey, and there's nobody else besides you.
Literally. And he's like,
prove it.
Yeah. And I'm over here bawling. He's like, you're gonna be okay, you'll be fine. Get plenty guns when you're. I'm like, suck off, bitch. You should have never begged for your attention. Mm-hmm. Anyway, and yeah, so I remember things like that, and it was just the fact that I still went back.
Time and time again. So when we had met the very first time, you're telling me this whole story about this guy. I'm like, oh really? This is who this guy is, huh? You're like, hey, he's this.
So at that point, actually, when I met you, we had kind of broken up for about a year, and I was still hooking up with him.
Right.
But I was getting that kind of he's now free, And I'm over here kind of like trying to like decide on my feelings for him or not. You know, I know it's not official, but like, you know, I was going through that emotion, and I've noticed this a lot too. I think all females go through this, is that one emotion of like, I don't want to be like that second, you know, like, fuck you for putting me as that second bitch or that back burner bitch, or, you know, like that option, you know, the late night option or the booty call, you know, and then all of a sudden, then you turn that into an anger of, no, f this. I'm going to be that bitch that he's going to be like, oh, f I can't get over her.
Right.
And so I was like, I'm going to prove myself, you know, I'm going to be the best he's had, even though he's hooking up with big booty Judy and big titty Tanya over here. Like, you know, f you. And that's kind of like where we were at when I met you. But I really started to get, you know, more attuned with myself and realize that I was really unhappy sexually. Because our sex was great. It still, my body was, and I'm like, well, my body's telling me that it felt good, you know? But I started to actually then think about things. And I started realizing that when I would get there, there was no like, hey, hi, how are you?
And just bend you over.
It was just push me on the bed.
Yep.
And even though it was eating me out, it was I'm getting you, it almost felt like it was a chore so that I would be wet enough for him to slide in.
Ah.
That was the really big thing. And I didn't see that, of course, then.
So it's interesting that your body is not going to be able to secrete enough lube for you naturally because the arousal wasn't there.
No.
Your body's like dried up, like, nope, sorry, I'm not attracted to you at all, so I gotta sit there and put in some reps.
Exactly. There was like no intimacy, there was nothing. Like all my feelings. Yeah. That's when I started reaching out to you, because I was like, I'm not gonna have feelings for this dude. But the main factor of why I wanted to meet up with you is because I realized that's kind of the moment, and that's why I was on Tinder, is I was starting to look for something else. I wanted to seek out. But then there was a blockage of, Dasha, this confidence is gone. You're not Dasha anymore. You're this shriveled up prune, just walking around like, who the fuck are you? Like, you're not anybody anymore. Like, you know, and you got this guy who's giving you sexual needs, which is part of your reading of, you have sex, but there's no intimacy. And I'm like, he's talking about Joey.
He sees everything.
Literally. And so I was just like, oh shit, okay, well, yeah. So that's kind of where things started. So yeah, when I did our first session, I still have that video and I still laugh about it. Ryan's out there and he's like, so this Joey, and I was like, yeah, we talked about Joey. And then he's like, yeah, so he's at the point where he now goes and fucks all these bitches. And then he wants me every so often, you know, because he said I was his bougie. Mm-hmm. And then those are his ratchet pussies. And I was like, the fuck?
I mean, if you had a choice, I'd rather have you be bougie than ratchet. But...
yeah. I was like, well, at least I'm bougie.
Yeah.
I'm classy.
There you go.
And then, yeah, so then...
yeah, the tight-ass loose hose over here, they mean nothing to me.
Yeah, but he was doing the thing of like, because I told him that I like to watch, I'm a voyager, you know, sometimes, he would use that as an excuse of sending his videos to me.
Yeah, being a voyeur
just to make me jealous, I think. And then that's when you were like, let's record something. And then I just was like, you know what? I trust this guy. I really do. My gut was telling me, trust this dude. And so I did. I ended up clicking send. And then, of course, right after, you remember?
I did.
Because the response was like, is that your new bitch? Is that your new boo?
Who's this white boy? Yeah, you can have a fight. Yeah.
Fine, I'll just send you a video of me fucking some girl later that day. And he did.
And he did. I remember, yeah.
I was like, are you kidding me? Like, was it
revenge porn?
You are so readable. Like, you are readable. So yeah, so that's kind of for that, you know. And I remember even our second session, I was like, I was gonna meet up with him. No, maybe it was the first session. I was gonna meet up with him after.
You were. You're like.
I remember I called you and I was like, right. I'm gonna do something stupid. And you're like, well, what are you gonna do? And I was like, I'm just gonna fuck Joey. But I don't think that's a good idea. And you're like, well, you can do what you want. But who are you? Right. You know? And I was like, well, I'm Dasha. And who is Dasha? And that's when I was like, no. I remember that I texted him. I was like, I really like what I have going for myself right now. Fuck you.
I love that.
Or not fuck you. And he's like, fine. Of course he turned into some...
But didn't he turn it, though? He's like, what do you mean we're not fucking? Whoever said I wanted to fuck you?
Oh, yeah,
You wanted to
he
fuck
did.
me.
He was like, you're the one who... I was like, since when, bitch? Like,
Yeah.
you're the one who texted me.
That's right.
Anyway, that was crazy.
And the dude cannot handle rejection.
No, he can't. He still messages me every so often, but we're actually at this point where he doesn't talk to me because he almost knows. He doesn't send me videos.
For what? I'm not doing anything for you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm like, good. The only thing that I'm messaging him for right now is he owes me $70.
Really? For what? What'd you give him $70 for?
Well, I was gonna buy a the little PS5 mobile, not PS5, so it's the little PS mobile game thing. Because I really want one, and he had one he never uses it. He's like, here, I'll sell it for $70 because everybody's selling it for like 140. I was like, oh yeah, but you never gave it to me because there he is again, like never make it tied to me. And I was like, you know what? No, this is folding me onto you. I'm like,
yeah.
Go away. I was like, I'll just take my $70 back, Mr. Busy Man.
You'll never get it.
At this point, I'm okay with it.
I know you are, but yeah.
I was like, whatever. Because he keeps like, soon. And I'm like, dude, you literally are the definition of sketch. Like, he works 2 jobs. Okay? When you work 2 jobs and you only pay $1,500 in rent, where is this other money coming?
He probably has some stupid ass job that he barely.
No, these are good jobs.
Oh, they are. Okay.
Like, he's a night bouncer for a club downtown.
Oh, I'm sure that suits his ego.
Oh, it does.
Yeah.
He loves sending me videos. He's got all those drunkies that are like, I think the last time he was talking to me, he was telling me about how, he got to some drug dealer's daughter.
God, dude, for real?
And I was just like, you're such a loser.
That's so disgusting.
Well, yeah, because she's like, she comes into the club every time with her father.
Oh, God.
And they're like in the club, and he's like, she like flirting with him a little bit, and he was like, of course I'm gonna boost my ego and tell Dasha the story, and I'm just like listening to it, and I was like, you were just talking about your ego, right?
Yeah.
And
good job, you child.
Yeah. Well, and it's like, she's like, there's something really caring about her. She comes in and takes care of her father when he gets drunk in here. I was like, yeah, that's so...
Codependent.
So healthy.
Yeah.
And then, and then he's like, well, yeah, at first I was just going to be like, I'm going to fuck your daughter. And I'm like, wow, that's a really fun thing to say to somebody.
A drug dealer, no less.
Like, he wanted to get back at his dad or something, and he's like, yeah, I'm going to fuck your daughter just to get back at you or something. And then I remember he was telling, then he's like, yeah, well, I ended up actually wanting to just fuck her. And I was like...
That falling over.
Yeah.
So he this girl.
Yeah, he was just like the way he was telling me. Oh, and then he even told me like how like this like old lady like wanted to hook up with him, and he did, and he's like,
jeez,
I don't even want to think about it. And I'm like, oh my God, it's so scarring. He did it.
Whether he did or he didn't, he will never tell you the truth.
Yeah.
It's just meant to just get in your head.
Yeah.
I mean,
I was
jealous.
just like, okay, whatever. Mind you, I was on the way to taking him to work.
Oh, for real?
That was but I was using him too, so it wasn't like
just using it truly. You're totally fine.
I know, but it's
we've had women completely topless in the show in the studio, so yeah. It's a topless talk show. What do you expect? Like, oh my God, please do it.
So I think that wraps up kind of Joey.
Yeah. So interesting. Wow, you've come so far. So,
oh my God.
So where do you want to go? Do you want to go to your new lover, partner, or do you want to go back in time and just share briefly where you've come from?
Yeah, I think coming where I came from.
Yeah, let's do that.
So,
this, by the way, I had no idea. Like, I did, but I didn't when we had first met because Joey was such a big portion of that either first session or first 2 sessions.
It was the first session, really.
Yeah.
Because that's kind of like, that's where I decided to stop things with him.
And then, was it the second session where we did...
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, so yeah,
downstairs.
Downstairs, yes. So yeah, go ahead and share what you...
My stomach growls profuse.
I want some more of that.
Yeah, so, I'm adopted.
Yes.
From Russia.
Da. Shut.
Yeah, so I was adopted at 4, by 2 parents now that live here. And,
You were adopted with your sister.
yeah, she's my
Biological.
sister.
Oh, half sister. Okay. She's
Yeah,
not
we
biological.
did DNA testing. Well, my mom already kind of knew, but like we haven't really like discussed. But as we got older, it was kind of like, yeah, somebody doesn't have a father on their birth certificate. I was like, but maybe he just didn't approve of my sister. But no, when we did it, we were only half. But it's just mom.